Hello, I'm moving on to a different project. We're going to do something all new. So on this Patreon page, I'm going to be doing gingerbread houses, cookies, but another thing that Aunt Beck's Bakery does is paper houses, which start off with a styrofoam core. If you're creative, artistic, you probably try a whole bunch of different things. So basically that's how I got to it, because I was doing the gingerbread houses and I thought, can I do a house in a different form that will not disintegrate? Basically that's how I came to do the paper houses. And that being said, the gingerbread houses, they really do last. Your gingerbread house, if it's stored behind glass, can last years. Nothing happens to it. It's just pretty, and you can wrap it up really tight, put it away during the rest of the year and bring it out during the holidays. But anyway, so this is a paper house. The customer sent me a picture of the house that she wants me to make. And so I started off by, I don't work to scale. And I put that, in my description when I sell these houses. I don't work to scale. This is a cute artistic version of the house that they send me. So, and they're fine with that. So I look at the picture very much like the gingerbread house. I look at the picture and then I figure out how big I want the house to be. And my houses come on 10-inch round cake boards. So I kind of utilize these for different reasons. And so I kind of figure out how big I want the house to be. And then I get a piece of paper and a ruler and I measure it out. And then I test it by putting it on the board. And I need room for front yard. I need room for the backyard. This person wants a deck on the back. And so I just cut out the pieces and then I make sure that it's going to fit, the sides, everything. So it's just the front and the back and the sides of the house, just to make sure it's going to fit nicely right there. So that's the width of the house is right there. So I still have room for backyard and a front yard. Then I get styrofoam. It's sold in sheets in the installation area at your local hardware store. And I stack them together like this until I get the right thickness that I want it to be. Let me see, let me show you this one. Okay, so that's the little garage. So I stack them. So this is 3. And then I glue them together. So you come out with this. And this one's being glued together because I had to add a little bit more to this. And I hold them together after I've glued them with twist ties, which you can buy anywhere. So that is my core of my house. It's going to be like this. That's the core. So then the second thing that I do after I have the core together, then I start to cut the paper, because these, I do call them paper houses. So this is a piece for the side of the garage. This little part is the garage. So I cut it so that it's just, I cut it so that it is going to be glued onto the side of the garage with a roof. Here's my roof. So it's going to look something like this. Now, do I have to go back and trim it? Yes, I usually do. But I don't know. It doesn't seem like a problem to me. I usually have to trim it up a little bit, but I cut it like approximately to the size it's supposed to be. And then I end up usually having to go back and trim it a little bit, but that's okay. The paper should be pretty thick. So for this, I actually glued 2 pieces of paper together. You can get a heavier weight paper, or sometimes I use corkboard and I glue the paper, foam board. I glue the paper onto a piece of foam board. And then that just makes it thicker and sturdier. So, but this time I just used paper on paper. I just wanted like a nice thick piece of paper. And so I have all these drying, and as you can see, I want to weigh them down so that the edges don't curl up. And so I used anything that was in my craft room to weigh them down. And I did that with Mod Podge. I glued the paper to paper, or you could do the paper to foam board with Mod Podge. And now I'm letting them dry. And then after I let them dry, I'll cut them down a little bit to make sure that they fit exactly. So you can see I'm going to have to take a little bit off this. And let me find the size for this. I think it's this one. Okay, so those are my pieces of paper. I'm going to have to trim them a little bit. And I glue them in place with tacky glue. And I hold them in place with the tacky glue with pipe cleaners again. So when I get to that point, I'll post a video, because you don't want to tie it too tight. It'll make dents in the paper. So you kind of want to loosely tie it and let it dry. So that's the first part of my tutorial for the paper houses. And let me know if you have any questions I can answer. Oh, and one other thing is that I don't use the correct knife to cut these at the moment. These are supposed to be, styrofoam is supposed to be used with a hot knife. And I don't have that tool. So I use a regular knife, and it's very messy. I'm letting you know that right now. It's super messy. But until I get a hot knife and learn how to use that, I'm just going to use my regular knife. So it is messy. Do it in an area that you can easily sweep up. You know, that doesn't bring it all back into the house. Or get yourself a hot knife, because they sell them online, and I should definitely get one. So now that I'm talking about it, I probably will. So I'll be back to show you another part of this paper house.